The breaking point. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the massive viewing window in her office aboard Unity Station, watching the emergency lights flash across the space dock below. The red alerts had been going off for 3 hours now, ever since the news arrived from Titan Research Station. 400 of humanity's brightest minds, gone in an instant when the Krex Empire decided they wanted the moon's rare mineral deposits for themselves. Sarah's reflection stared back at her from the reinforced glass. At 62, she had spent most of her adult life as head of the Human Diplomatic Corps, carefully managing Earth's relationship with the Galactic Union. Every decision, every treaty, every interaction had been guided by one simple rule that few humans even knew existed: never let them see what we're really capable of. The door to her office hissed open, and Admiral Marcus Webb stepped inside. Unlike Sarah, Marcus looked exactly like what the galaxy expected from a human military officer. His uniform was neat but unremarkable, his ship designs were functional but unimpressive, and his fleet numbers were small enough to seem non-threatening. It was all carefully calculated theater. "The Union Council has made their decision," Marcus said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "They're calling it a territorial dispute. No sanctions against the Krex Empire, no reparations for our people, and no guarantee it won't happen again." Sarah closed her eyes. She had hoped, even after all these years, that the Union might finally treat humanity as equals. That maybe the deaths of 400 innocent researchers would be enough to make them take human lives seriously. But deep down, she had known better. Chancellor Mordun actually had the nerve to suggest we should have consulted the Krex before establishing the research station, Marcus continued, as if we needed permission to study rocks on a moon in our own solar system. The Titan Research Station had been humanity's pride, a floating laboratory where Earth's best and brightest worked to unlock the secrets of quantum mechanics and dimensional physics. The Krex had attacked without warning, claiming the moon contained materials essential to their expansion plans. The Union's response had been predictably disappointing. "How long?" Sarah asked quietly. Marcus knew exactly what she meant. "The restraint protocol has been in place for 83 years, 4 months, and 16 days. We've built it into every aspect of our technology, our military, even our architecture. The galaxy thinks we're barely capable of interstellar travel." Sarah turned away from the window to face him. Marcus Webb was one of only 12 people in the entire human population who knew the full extent of what they were hiding. The secret had been kept so well that most humans themselves believed they were the primitive species the galaxy saw them as. "You know it," Sarah said, settling into her chair. "When we first made contact with the Kithera Collective in 2157, they were so advanced compared to us that we could barely understand their technology. We were genuinely the junior species then. But we learned fast. Maybe too fast." Marcus nodded. He remembered the stories from the early days. Humanity had been overwhelmed by the vastness of galactic civilization, eager to prove themselves worthy of membership in the Union. But then they had studied galactic history and seen a disturbing pattern. Every species that showed their full capabilities too early either got enslaved, destroyed, or forced into subservient roles, Marcus said. The Vorthan hegemony controlled 17 worlds before they revealed their industrial capacity. Now they're factory workers for the Alterian Republic. The Zephyrian Confederacy had the most advanced medical technology in 3 sectors. They're still confined to their home system, serving as the galaxy's doctors. Sarah pulled up holographic displays showing the current state of human colonies throughout Union space. Officially, humanity controlled 14 worlds and had a population of 8 billion. The truth was very different. Hidden manufacturing facilities, secret research outposts, and disguised military bases were scattered across 47 star systems. The human population was closer to 30 billion, with most living in carefully concealed habitats. The Krex have always been the worst of them, Sarah continued. They respect only strength, and they've been testing us for decades. Small raids on our outer colonies, territorial disputes over resource-rich moons, constant challenges to our shipping rights. Each time, we responded with just enough force to make them back down, but never enough to make them respect us. Marcus activated his own holographic display, showing the disposition of human forces throughout the galaxy. To any Union observer, it would look like humanity had perhaps 50 ships capable of interstellar combat. The reality was that over 3,000 vessels were currently on patrol, their advanced stealth systems making them invisible to Union sensors. General Vorthak has been pushing for this confrontation for years, Marcus said, bringing up intelligence files on the Krex military leader. He's convinced his emperor that humans are weak and won't fight back effectively. The attack on Titan was meant to be the first step in claiming our entire solar system. Sarah studied Vorthak's file. The Krex general was known for his brutal efficiency and his contempt for what he called soft species. His forces had conquered 6 different civilizations over the past century, always targeting those the Union considered non-threatening. Humanity fit that profile perfectly. Ambassador Rodriguez has requested an emergency meeting, Sarah said, referring to Earth's official representative to the Union Council. She's furious about the Council's decision, but she doesn't know why we're really so calm about it. Jennifer Rodriguez was a brilliant diplomat, but like most humans, she genuinely believed that Earth's military capabilities were limited. She had spent years trying to build alliances and secure protection through political means, not knowing that humanity could have simply taken what they wanted at any time. How much does she need to know? Marcus asked. Everything, Sarah replied. If we're ending the restraint protocol, she needs to understand what she's really representing. The restraint protocol had been the result of careful analysis by Earth's best strategic minds. When humanity first encountered galactic civilization, they had immediately begun developing technologies far beyond what they showed publicly. Quantum computers that could break any encryption, stealth systems that made ships completely invisible, weapons that could disable entire fleets without destroying them, and manufacturing capabilities that could outproduce entire star systems. But they had also studied galactic politics and realized that being too advanced too quickly would make them a target. So they created elaborate facades. Human ships looked crude but were actually marvels of engineering. Human computers seemed slow but were running at a fraction of their capability. Human weapons appeared limited but were deliberately constrained by hidden protocols. The cost has been enormous, Sarah said, reviewing casualty reports from decades of attacks. 3,000 dead in raids we could have prevented. Entire colonies abandoned because we couldn't afford to defend them properly. Billions of credits and resources stolen because we had to appear vulnerable. Marcus pulled up video feeds from throughout Union space. In dozens of star systems, human facilities that appeared to be simple mining operations or research stations were quietly transforming. Hidden weapons were coming online. Concealed ships were powering up their true engines, and disguised military personnel were revealing their actual equipment. Dr. Kim's team has confirmed the quantum cascade generators are ready, Marcus reported. We can disable the entire Krex fleet without firing a single conventional weapon. Their ships will simply stop working. Professor David Kim had spent 30 years developing humanity's most advanced technologies while pretending to be a simple materials scientist. His quantum cascade generators could selectively shut down any electronic system within light years, making them the ultimate non-lethal weapon. The Krex Empire had no idea such technology even existed. What about the Union's response? Sarah asked. They'll be shocked, but they'll adapt, Marcus said. We've done psychological profiles on every major Union leader. Once they realize we're not a threat to their core territories, they'll be eager to renegotiate our status. Some of them might even be relieved that someone can finally put the Krex in their place. Sarah stood and walked to her private communications console. It was time to send the message that would change everything. The authorization code that would end 83 years of careful deception and reveal humanity's true place in the galaxy. All stations, she said into the encrypted channel. This is Dr. Chen with authorization code Phoenix Alpha 77. The restraint protocol is hereby terminated. Repeat, the restraint protocol is terminated. Begin full revelation procedures immediately. Across human space, the message was received and acknowledged. In hidden shipyards, advanced vessels began dropping their stealth fields. In disguised research facilities, true technological capabilities were unveiled. On every human world, military forces revealed equipment that surpassed anything the Union had ever seen. The Krex Empire had wanted to test humanity's strength. They were about to discover that they had been fighting shadows while the real power remained hidden in the dark. The galaxy was about to learn that the species they had dismissed as primitive newcomers had actually been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment all along. The age of human restraint was over. The age of human revelation was about to begin. The revelation. Captain Lisa Park had been commanding the merchant vessel Harmony's Dream for 7 years, making regular supply runs between Earth colonies, while carefully maintaining the illusion that her ship was nothing more than a slow, lightly armed cargo hauler. Today, for the first time since taking command, she was about to show the galaxy what her ship really was. Captain, called Lieutenant James Torres from the communications station. We're receiving termination codes from Unity Station. Dr. Chen has authorized full revelation protocols. Lisa felt a mix of excitement and sadness. She had spent years perfecting her role as an unassuming merchant captain, building relationships with traders throughout Union space while secretly gathering intelligence. Those relationships would change forever once her true nature was revealed. "All hands, this is the captain," she announced over the ship's intercom. "Prepare for full transformation. This is not a drill. We are ending the masquerade." Throughout the Harmony's Dream, hidden panels began sliding open. What had appeared to be cargo holds revealed themselves as advanced sensor arrays and quantum processing centers. The ship's humble exterior began reconfiguring as armor plating shifted and weapon ports emerged. Most dramatically, the ship's size seemed to double as concealed sections extended from the hull. "Transformation complete," reported Chief Engineer Maria Santos. "All systems showing full operational status. Stealth field generators are online, and quantum cascade weapons are armed and ready." Lisa smiled as she looked at her bridge, which now displayed holographic controls that would have seemed like magic to most Union species. "Set course for the Krex home system. It's time to introduce ourselves properly." Meanwhile, in the heart of Krex space, Emperor Zethmore was celebrating what he believed was a great victory. The destruction of the human research station had been accomplished without any meaningful retaliation, confirming his assessment that humans were too weak to defend themselves effectively. "General Vorthak," the Emperor said, his massive form dominating the war room, "your strategy has proven correct." The humans responded exactly as predicted. Their diplomatic protests were ignored by the Union, and their military made no serious attempt at revenge. General Vorthak, his scales gleaming with satisfaction, activated holographic displays showing Krex fleet positions throughout human space. "My lord, our ships are in position to begin the next phase. We can claim their Mars colonies within the month, and their Earth system within the year. The Union will accept it as inevitable expansion of a superior species." The Krex had built their empire on this pattern. They would probe a species' defenses, test their resolve, and then gradually claim their territory, while the Union looked the other way. It had worked against the peaceful Alderani, the scholarly Vextar, and dozens of other civilizations that had trusted in diplomacy over military strength. However, Vorthak continued, "There have been some unusual sensor readings near several of our patrol fleets. Probably equipment malfunctions, but our technicians are investigating." Those equipment malfunctions were actually human stealth ships moving into position throughout Krex territory. Ships like the Harmony's Dream had been operating undercover for decades, mapping Krex defenses and establishing the networks needed for a coordinated response. On Unity Station, Dr. Sarah Chen was coordinating with Union Chancellor Morden through an emergency diplomatic channel. The Chancellor, a tall, crystalline being from the Alterian Republic, had been managing Union politics for over a century and prided himself on understanding every species under his authority. "Dr. Chen," the Chancellor said, his voice carrying the harmonic tones that made Alterian speech so distinctive. "I understand you're upset about our decision regarding the Titan incident, but you must understand that the Union cannot intervene in every territorial dispute. The Kreks have legitimate claims to mineral-rich territories." "Chancellor," Sarah replied calmly, "I'm not calling to protest your decision. I'm calling to inform you that the situation has changed. Humanity will be handling this matter ourselves." Chancellor Morden's crystalline features shifted in what humans had learned to recognize as confusion. "Dr. Chen, with all respect, humanity lacks the military capability to challenge the Kreks Empire. Your fleet consists of perhaps 50 combat vessels, while the Kreks maintain over 2,000 ships of the line. Those numbers are not accurate," Sarah said simply. Before the Chancellor could respond, alerts began sounding throughout Union space. Long-range sensors were detecting massive energy signatures appearing near Kreks positions. Ships that had been completely invisible were suddenly announcing their presence across a dozen star systems. "What is happening?" the Chancellor demanded, his harmonic voice rising in pitch. "We're introducing ourselves properly," Sarah replied. "Chancellor, for 83 years, humanity has been operating under what we call the restraint protocol. We deliberately limited our apparent technological and military capabilities to avoid being perceived as a threat. Today, that protocol has been terminated." Captain Lisa Park's ship had joined a formation of 12 other vessels that had materialized around the primary Kreks naval base at Draconis VI. The Kreks had never seen anything like the ships now surrounding their strongest military installation. They moved with impossible grace, their hulls seeming to shift and flow like liquid metal, and their sensor signatures suggested technology far beyond anything in the Union database. "This is Captain Lisa Park of the Earth vessel, Harmony's Dream, to Kreks Base Commander," she transmitted on open channels. "You are ordered to power down all weapons and recall your fleets from human space immediately." The response was predictably hostile. Base Commander Thekvar had never heard of humans making demands of the Kreks military. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Kreks territorial space. Withdraw immediately or face destruction." "Commander," Lisa replied patiently, "you are facing 13 ships equipped with quantum cascade weapons. These weapons can disable every electronic system in your base without harming a single life. You have 60 seconds to comply with our instructions." The Kreks' response was to open fire with everything they had. Massive energy beams lanced out from the base's defensive batteries, followed by volleys of antimatter missiles from the 6 Kreks destroyers stationed there. It was enough firepower to obliterate a small moon. None of it reached the human ships. Energy barriers that the Kreks didn't even know were possible absorbed the weapon fire effortlessly, while the missiles simply stopped working in mid-flight, their guidance systems shut down by selective electromagnetic pulses. "Time's up," Lisa announced. The quantum cascade generators fired. There was no visible beam, no dramatic explosion, just a subtle shift in the quantum field surrounding the Kreks base. Every electronic system simply stopped working. Lights went out, computers shut down, life support switched to emergency backup, and the mighty Kreks warships became nothing more than floating metal hulks. Similar scenes were playing out throughout Kreks space. At the Empire's capital world, a human fleet under Admiral Webb's direct command had disabled the entire orbital defense network without firing a single conventional weapon. Emperor Zethmore found himself staring out at ships that seemed to have materialized from nowhere, completely surrounding his world. "This is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Earth Defense Force," came the transmission. "Emperor Zethmore, you will order the immediate withdrawal of all Kreks forces from human territory and provide reparations for the lives lost at Titan Research Station." The Emperor's war room was in chaos. Every system they depended on for military coordination had been shut down. General Vorthak was frantically trying to contact their scattered fleets, but communication arrays throughout the Empire had been selectively disabled. "How is this possible?" the Emperor demanded. "Our intelligence indicated humans were barely capable of interstellar travel." "Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see," Admiral Webb replied. "Humanity has been developing advanced technology for over 80 years, while maintaining the appearance of a primitive species. We studied galactic history and learned what happens to civilizations that reveal their full capabilities too early." Professor David Kim, broadcasting from a previously unknown research facility, provided the technical explanation that was being transmitted throughout Union space. "The quantum cascade effect allows us to selectively disable any technology based on conventional electromagnetic principles. Your ships, your computers, your weapons, they all depend on quantum interactions that we can now control at the fundamental level." The demonstration was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human technology had apparently advanced centuries beyond Union standards while remaining completely hidden. Ships that could achieve perfect stealth, weapons that could disable enemies without destruction, and manufacturing capabilities that allowed them to build massive fleets in secret. Chancellor Mordun was receiving reports from across Union space. Human facilities that had appeared to be simple research stations were revealing themselves as advanced manufacturing centers. Mining operations were showing themselves to be disguised military bases. Even human diplomatic vessels were transforming into sophisticated command ships. "Dr. Chen," the Chancellor said, his voice now carrying undertones of respect that had been absent before, "why reveal this now? You could have continued your deception indefinitely." "Because people we cared about died while we were pretending to be weak," Sarah replied. "The restraint protocol served its purpose. It allowed us to study galactic civilization, understand the real power structures, and develop the capabilities needed to protect ourselves. But the cost became too high." The Krex Empire's response was swift surrender. Faced with technology they couldn't understand or counter, Emperor Zethmor agreed to all human demands. Krex forces withdrew from human space, reparations were paid to the families of those killed at Titan Station, and General Vorthak was handed over to human authorities for trial. But the real changes were happening in the Union Council. Species that had dismissed humanity as unimportant were now requesting formal alliances. Trade agreements that had been stalled for decades were suddenly approved with favorable terms. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in a single day. "This is quite remarkable," Chancellor Mordun admitted during his private conference with Dr. Chen. "In one day, humanity has established itself as one of the major powers in Union space. Your restraint protocol was brilliantly executed." "We never wanted to be a major power," Sarah replied. "We just wanted to be treated fairly. We wanted our colonies to be safe, our people to be respected, and our contributions to be valued. For 83 years, we tried to earn that through diplomacy and cooperation. And now everyone knows that when we choose restraint, it's because we're choosing to be peaceful, not because we have no other option." Sometimes that's an important distinction. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military capability. It was their patience, their ability to plan for the long term, and their willingness to appear weak while building the power needed to protect what they valued most. The age of underestimating humanity was over. The age of respecting human choice had begun.